I was listening to some SCP stories. I came across the one with like the lost children, and they mentioned SCP-573. And in the story, they suggest they had like they tested 573 on the children and said that it worked well. And I was like, okay, in order to understand what was going on, I need to look up what 733 is. 573, I meant. So if you go to their site, currently at June of 2026, you will notice that next to the SCP, it says NA. I was like, did I get the number wrong? No, it's 573. Why is it NA? The following page has been created as a staff placeholder as part of the ongoing Bright Works project and the selected proposal. What could that mean, you may ask? Well, some of you also might know what's going on, because this was started last year, and this is in stage 8.2, so this has been going on for like a while now. I'm not going to read all of this. Notice that it keeps referring to Bright. For clarity, Bright, the user, refers to the wiki.user admin Bright, despite their username implying as such. They are not an administrator of the SCP Wiki and were permanently banned from the site in 2022. We will be referring to them as Bright rather than admin Bright to avoid any confusion regarding this. So what happened? Okay, yes. A Brightworks message. Removal of harmful and grossly offensive pages. SCP Wiki staff have removed most pages authored by the Duckman, aka Bright. You have been redirected here. They have a list. No, the Duckman, aka Bright, currently uses the wiki.username admin Bright. Despite the username, this author is not an administrator of the SCP Wiki and was permanently banned from the site in 2022. Clarity's sake, this page will refer to the author as the Duckman. So anywhere it says the Duckman or Bright, they're talking about the admin, or ex-admin. The anti-harassment team, I can't highlight it, has received numerous reports, which they believe are credible, accusing the author, oh, there's the highlighting, it's just taking a minute, which they believe are credible, accusing the author, the Duckman, of predatory and abusive behaviors towards others, including minors. For these actions, the Duckman has been permanently banned. The Duckman used their authored works to bolster their image as a figure of authority, trust, and importance, enabling them to leverage the wiki as a tool for severe misconduct, trigger warning, including sexual harassment and alleged long-term sexual abuse. Duckman's works contain harmful themes in the context of aforementioned behaviors, including, but not limited to, sexualization of minors and justification of predatory behavior. Which I hate. I really hate it when people are like, oh, it's okay because of this. No, it's not. It's harassment and abuse for a reason. The Duckman also reportedly engaged in fetish mining, asking others for fetish content without them knowing that the content is for a fetish or a sexual purpose related to the content of their work. The Duckman reportedly exploited their position as an administrator of the site and the creator of the character Dr. Bright as tools to carry out the abuse mentioned above. I don't know how long all this abuse has been going on for, but Dr. Bright has been such an integral part of the SCP universe. It baffles my mind. So the bulk of the Duckman's works have been removed from the wiki, which is serious. So I'm not going to read this whole thing. I just want to point out that they are actually updating us to know, for us to know what's going on. The short of it they don't want to completely obliterate everything that Bright had written. But everything that mentions Dr. Bright has been changed. They mention the name elsewhere, but their roadmap involves access current proposal drafts. So I'm assuming that's like the rewriting. Assess all Bright works for content. Ideate solutions collaboratively. Pretty much like what part of the SCP requires to be rewritten, redone, whatnot. Find given solutions. Write/draft proposed solutions. Draft proposal/discussion post. Voting, and then implementation to remove and counter. And then they got like all the updates down there. I'm not going to read them all. If you really want to, you can go to the forum discussion ongoing Brightworks project. Now, this I find to be a little bit more insightful. Remove and counter Bright's influence. What is this? This proposal recommends the deletion of the vast majority of Bright's works, while paying special attention to the handful of remaining works which need particular handling due to the potential for future harm caused by their prominence. I know it's on a lot of people's mind, and it was on mine too. It's like, beyond what the admin did, how is his previous works harmful? That is a really good question. And that's one thing that they've thought of and really considered. Proposal recommends either deleting SCP-963's original text or retaining SCP-963's original text only with annotations pointing out the harmful elements and their impact as suggested impedent. Proposal recommends deleting SCP-1004's text entirely, along with other extremely harmful works like the self-insert, regardless of prominence. These two have been really mentioned, and it's like, okay, that sounds important. So in case you don't know, I have looked up the all the individual SCPs that they've mentioned that they're removing or rewriting. And SCP-963 is Dr. Bright pretty much himself. It's more of like the pendant that has Dr. Bright's consciousness in it. The biggest thing is that this is a self-insert. Like, Dr. Bright made this character based on himself. And which implies that his self-insert likes doing the stuff that he's done in real life. So this AI that I loaded up, due to the severe misconduct of the author Edmund Bright, who created the self-insert character Dr. Jack Bright, many official works and tales of the SCP community have phased out the name Bright in favor of Elias Shaw. That is the new name. So they're going to have to go through, change all of the characters with the last name of Bright, including the admins, like the 05s, and replace their names, and just call them Shaw now. The lore functions essentially the same, with the character occupying SCP-963 being renamed and reimagined in the main wiki.canon. So this apparently is the new page. Well, pretty much not in the actual wiki dot, but so it's like the lore and the stories are still there. So what's SCP-1004? This I had to look up myself. There's like almost 10,000 SCPs now. I cannot be bothered to like read every single one of them. 1004 is the factory porn, which I actually did hear about. I just didn't know it was 1004. So pretty much this is CDs. It's an anonymous computer program stored on a CD or floppy disk that generates highly addictive, increasingly disturbing visual and video content based on any text input. So it's pretty much AI porn. Yeah, it instantly displays corresponding media that over time degrades into illegal and horrific depictions of violence and taboo acts. And viewing this will cause the person to act out the fantasies in real life. They deemed this one to be, let's say, problematic because of pretty much the act out the fantasies in real life. So, one of the things that I plan on doing for the SCPs that are involved in this controversy, I have ideas. This one, you could just remove the continued viewing of the things. Now, I think it would be interesting to keep in the fact that, like, you could just say, like, two people making out on a couch, and it would create the work. But then, say it suddenly goes into, violence between the two of them. And the more you watch, the progressive, like, it progressively, like, gets, like, gory and whatnot. There's still the, indications of, like, it's like sexual violence. But in my defense of that part, is that it's part of the SCP, and it's part that makes it disturbing. It's like the mannequin. She becomes submissive towards men, and she goes on a murderous rampage when a female's nearby. That makes that SCP, I don't want to say concerning, but I can't think of the word right now. I don't think they should remove all instances of, like, sex, but the fact that a known predator wrote these is very concerning, which is why they want to try to remove all ties with him, and I fully understand that. So much of Bright's harm was furthered by their influence on the site, which was primarily contributed to by their body of writing and status as a former administrator. This is textbook grooming and parasocial relationship. Because he's like, hey, I'm one of the main admins. I'm fucking Dr. Bright. So this is alright to do. But some articles are persistently influential beyond the site itself. So just removing things won't work well. So they have to rewrite some things, which includes a disclaimer similar to an updated version of the Bright List deletion message. Yeah, they deleted that. To link alternative response works that enable the community to reframe them. So pretty much, they are reclaiming Bright's works as their own, which means it needs to be reworked. Now remember, as far as I understand, Edmund Bright does not own the stories. Like, it's not his copyright. He can't come and sue them for changing the words and changing the story around. Difference from 173. Because a while back, the guy that took the photo that became iconic for 173 had asked them not to use that photo anymore. So they had to remove the photo, and there's like a lot of different places are coming up with alternate reasons why it's no longer looking that way. And I think that was like properly done on both end of the issue. So Bright's pages would be handled accordingly. The vast majority of Bright's pages are not meaningfully influential, including many of Bright's highly visible pages, except due to the extent that Bright's harmful actions were supported by having an extensive body of work. So they've outright deleted via unlisting them. Unlisting is functionally considered the same as total deletion. The reason why unlisting is used rather than outright total deletion is to preserve a staff record of the pages in case retaining evidence is necessary in the future. So it's still there. They have it, we don't see it. For Bright's few meaningful, prominent pages, removal does not mitigate their fame. It may even boost it by increasing mystique and encouraging others to seek them out elsewhere. which is basically what I've got up on the top of the tab bar there. Therefore, for these few remaining pages, each would be modified to allow linking to alternate pieces, reimaginings, response pieces, and anything else that addresses the work as created by the community. They're also worried that people would go searching for the stuff that they wanted to remove. So they don't want people to go searching for the bits that they had removed. So it's like, and there's going to be people where it's like, they don't know this. They're like, oh, go check out Dr. Bright's list of things that he can't do. It's hilarious. And they go and look and it's not there. Okay, SCP slot recycling. That means there's sometimes an SCP that they remove. Like, for instance, there's this one gargoyle statue that if you look at it and you turn away, it'll crush you. And the whole thing is exactly similar to 173, except for it's a gargoyle statue. So they removed that because it was too similar. The slot that it was, which I don't know, was replaced by another SCP eventually. Like, if you go through the list right now, any empty thing would just say NA and would be in response to what happened to Bright. One of the best ways of removing Bright's prominence would be to minimize their presence in the SCP series everywhere reasonably possible. This includes minimizing slots taken up with disclaimers referring to Bright or redirects to the Bright note. Which, like, an example, the one of the SCPs coming up is the 3 monkey statues. That is not a popular SCP at all. And they could just take that, swap it out, and just put another SCP in. And only people that know about that SCP won't be the wiser. Or will be the wiser? Anyway. Therefore, this proposal suggests that if there's no apparent harm in recycling the slot number with a new SCP, which is for most slots, with exceptions noted, then the slot be freed up for replacement with new unrelated works, under staff guidance where needed. Bright's deleted SCPs would be replaced. If a Bright SCP is retained, it is not strongly associated with its number. And there's no harm in replacing the slot number with a new SCP, then we remove the SCP from the slot, change it to a tail, does not require repulsing the page, and replace the SCP. With this plan, most former Bright SCP URLs would contain entirely new works at the original URL. This will result in some confusion. This is one of the ideas. And if any admins are watching this, go ahead. I have like a few SCPs that I made. The bed bugs, the psychic cat, the portal man. He only can create a small portal that is only as big as his hand, and he can only target places where he's been. So one of his favorite things is he likes opening up a portal and grabbing a cheeseburger and eating it. And then there's the complete redacted, which if you're interested in knowing the backstory to that, I do plan on building onto it because I am writing my own story, and that has a reveal behind it. The alcoholic baking gummy bears. They're gummy bears that make cupcakes that has alcohol in it. And once a week, they make a batch of these, and they've tried to find a human to taste it. If they can't find a human, they go on a murder spree. If a human tastes it and hates it, they kill the human and go on a murder spree. So they're contained in a kitchen. And on the schedule, they send in a D class to taste the cupcakes. They try to have the D class, enjoy the cupcakes, but sometimes people just don't like it. They get like a wincing on their face. The gummy bears can detect the slightest grimace. They kill and try to escape, which they can easily do by sliding through cracks because they're gummy bears. But they found a D class that, for some reason, even if she hates the cupcake, her acting is so good that the gummy bears believe that she likes it. So they've removed the monthly execution from her and has her solely for that SCP. Then another one is a flesh train, where it goes on its tracks and it hits a person, and it just takes all of their skin and muscles, leaving practically everything else, and it just continues on its way, and it absorbs it to its ongoing train cars. And the Foundation tries to contain it, but no matter what they do, if they try to doing a brick wall or a stone concrete wall, something to stop it, but it just breaks through it. They can't find anything to stop it or remove it from the tracks or anything like that. And it teleports pretty much. It appears out of a tunnel and goes into a tunnel and disappears. They even tried removing tracks from one of the known places, and it just appears somewhere else. So if you're interested, go look at those, which I might actually put up in my end cards. And it says, please note, all recommended choices for handling this work are informed suggestions and are subject to change through staff decision. I mean, that makes sense. So they also have a thing about the harmful works authored by Bright. The basis of this is that Bright had used their works and fame to manipulate his victims. And they say even in the author's absence from the site, these works still might lead vulnerable persons to interact with Bright. And I agree with that. Especially if he's, even though he's not on the site, he could still go around in, DMs and whatnot. And be like, hey, I'm Mr. Bright. Here's my works. I'm really popular on SCP. How's it going? Resolution. While Bright's less prominent works will stop existing in the popular consciousness if deleted, a few of their more prominent ones will not. Like I said, the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil monkeys, that could just be deleted. Just completely wiped off the face of the site, and no harm will come to anything. Replace it with the drunk baking gummy bears. Do that one. That one's one of the most interesting ones I have up. And it was my wife's dream that happened. I just wrote it for her. I didn't submit it to the site, though. I think I might need to do that. Anyway, another thing I have issue with Dr. Bright's work. A lot of it does seem to be focused a lot on sex, misogyny, making abuse a normal thing. And I hate that. Which brings me back around to one of the SCPs that I made on my YouTube channel. The problem, the complete redacted one, it involves a woman that any child that she births is a direct clone of the father. And what happens, a lot of different clone things, the clones will grow way too quickly. And with thus, their brain function doesn't keep up with the body. They would look like old men, but it's they'll have no consciousness, pretty much. They'll just be standing there, walking around like zombies. And the site director noticed this really quick and changed her SCP thing to Keter and made it sound like that it's one of the most dangerous SCPs ever, and only he can handle it. So he's trying to breed an army of himself to try to take over the SCP. And my main character discovers this. And so they have a small interaction with him. And then since they disrupted his little clones, he has them in the basement just standing there. And they come upstairs and they see him, and my main character does a statement well, how about you tell your sons what you plan on doing? But because they're mindless, they just come and attack their father because he's borderline just abusing them. So now with this coming up, I don't know if that's too much And the SCP herself, it is a grooming type thing because he convinces her that he's the only thing that can like keep her safe. Everything outside of the door is like harmful and will like hurt her and kill her. So she just needs to stay in that like pretty much 2-room kind of like an apartment with the basement that the clones are stored in. But after discovering it, they actually make her life a lot better. So I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of that. So anyway, I'm here to talk about Dr. Bright. Okay, so Bright's co-authored pages. Of the 63 pages authored by Bright, only one was a collaboration with another wiki author. That being SCP 902. Do I have that down? Oh, it's the final countdown! It's the final countdown. Doodly-oo-doo. Doodly-doo-doo. It's the one where the box constantly makes a ticking sound. And anybody that's aware of the box, even by reading the description, will think that that there's like a time bomb in it. So they need to try to destroy it, not before the ticking stops, but when the ticking stops. So far, the ticking hasn't stopped. As this page does not contain any material deemed harmful by staff and was written in part by another author, removing this page entirely would raise additional questions about staff's ability to unilaterally delete an author's work if it does not break any existing rules. So Edmund Bright would be removed from the page's license box and replaced with the Duckman. For more explanation of the solution, see reattribution under why the solution. So there's an occasional push to rewrite these pages to remove the offensive material. So this proposal does not recommend any significant rewriting. The only relevant portions concern the option to remove egregious material at staff discretion for any undeleted pages. It's covered in specific entries and limited to easy to implement revisions. This should not fall on the plate of the rewrite team. And there's more that you can read. Alright, so handling Bright's harm. I forgot to make a statement at the beginning. I think I'm going to put it up in text. Do not go and find this person and harass them. Everybody that's involved with them is handling the situation. I don't know about any legal matters. That's neither here or there right now. Bright is responsible for a great deal of harm towards SCP Wiki members, and if anybody that says that SA is not harm, you can just get off my channel right now. Community members and others. Bright's works enable this harm and continue to do so. The SCP Wiki should act to mitigate harm already done and prevent further harm from being done, to whatever extent we can. Which, by the way, I have removed the list of things that Bright can't do on my channel. I am disgusted by this whole thing. Learning that it's him that wrote that, it's gone. The whole purpose of attacking and replacing Bright's influence and prominence is to address this harm as best as possible. For the vast majority of Bright's works, deletion and URL recycling helps the articles be further forgotten. Deletion of less prominent works potentially reduces future harm caused by hosting the articles on the SCP Wiki, without significant risk of readers seeking the material off-site with uncontrolled / pro-abuser alternative sources. And that's the thing. I am anti-abuser. This is awful, and I want to bring light to this that do not interact with Dr. Bright or Admin Bright or the Duckman. Oh yeah, and here, off-site reaction. Any act involving the works of Bright will inevitably attract attention from the off-site portion of our community, which may not be fully informed. Reaction to it as to any possible proposal may result in the impression that staff has chosen to do little to address the underlying issues or treat the problem of right with the appropriate amount of care. So, this is why I'm removing me reading his list. And the difference between doing that and doing this is that people are being informed on what happened and what the site is doing. So hopefully this prevents people from being like, oh, well, where did all this go? And I don't blame other like sites like the SCP Storytime to not remove it. But I think if they add a disclaimer in their like description or something, that might be good. Alright, so they're talking more about like what's being done and being replaced and whatnot. These are the different SCPs that are being deleted and recycled. So the SCP-029 is the Daughter of Shadows. If you do not know, this is a particular character that can control guys with, like, her mind. And pretty much they will do anything to protect this SCP, including jumping in front of them. Biggest issue with this one, and I also found huge issue with this, because SCP-029 can turn almost any object into a weapon, including clothes. She is stripped, denied food, and kept in a permanently floodlit triple airlock cell. So this is a very, very, very dark-skinned character, female, has no clothes on, and is suffering from alopecia. So some users express a dislike for the anomaly's lore on platforms like Reddit, citing it as a generic murder monster, while other readers simply discuss her deadly combat potential and origins. I personally think this one can be reworked. Like, yeah, just take the whole thing, scrub it. Don't even call it the Daughter of Shadows. But the main thing that piqued my interest about this one was the fact that she can make any male fight for her. And it's not by, like, voice or anything. I think they just described it as, like, she looks at them and they feel compelled to protect her. I've played a game that involves this character. I'm not going to remove that from the channel because the drawing of said character is completely different. She's clothed. Everything that's controversial for her had been removed from the character. And the game is a fun kind of like puzzle platformer. But I don't know where that game is going to go after this controversy. And pretty much in the rationale for action, a lot of it is pretty much the same. I'm going to cut it down to it's potentially harmful due to the inclusion of really questionable circumstances. So yeah, the page is barely associated with Bright, so there is less potential harm to replacing it in the SCP series. And like I said, they could just completely delete it and replace with a watered-down version. SCP-50. It's the, to the cleverest, it's a statue of a little monkey. It possesses a sentient, mischievous personality, keeping it assigned office flawlessly clean, but continuously setting dangerous, elaborate pranks for whomever currently possesses it. So I remember hearing a story on this where people keep putting it into other people's offices, and it would just, like, really mess with them. If you want to know more about it, there's this thing on... It's a 3-minute video on, I want to say Reddit. But you can check that out yourself. So, document 050. I haven't looked that up, but, the page represents potential harm by platforming Bright. It is a collaboration log for SCP-50, which is why I didn't load it up. 161. This is the Pinwheel of Doom. I've never heard of this one. But it causes the wielder to think they have massive, magical powers. And they could think like, oh, I'm going to blow this wall down. Kaboo! And there would be like a hole in the wall. But that hole in the wall would only be for them. Only they could see it. And if they cast a death spell on a person, to them that person falls over dead, but the person actually is still alive. So it's not identified to have harmful content, it's just Bright's thing. On-site backlinks are mostly trivial. So places that send you to that page. Deletion should cause a little confusion. There is only one notable Reliant backlink. So pretty much they could remove the mention of it from that one article, or the link takes you to, well, this has been removed for various reasons. 528. SCP-528 is the Voodoo putty. This one, the putty is placed on a picture. Say, a person's face. And you could stretch it, you could squeeze it, and what happens to the picture happens to the person's face. This one, I think it could just be completely scrubbed. It's not important for anything. It's a clever, oh, hey, it's silly putty. It's also very similar to the reverse Voodoo doll. And that one they're just removing because it's Brights. So SCP-573, you could tell this is going to be a huge one, because it's the pipe, the one I mentioned earlier. So just like with any Peter Pan type thing, or a satyr flute, this is used to put kids. Oh, actually, the person that hears the music he plays has no choice but to follow the player's commands. Down here is what really caught my attention and really brought me down into the rabbit hole. The self-insert tail needs to be taken down. Diary 573, I'm not loading this up, but the diary in particular had weird, unnecessary sexualization of children, which I'm really surprised that had went through their censoring. So this page's content is potentially harmful as it focuses on mind control of and violence towards prepubescent children. Written to enable another tale by the author known to be extremely harmful and deleted by Fire. This upsetting sexual content is made noticeably worse in contact of the author. It says it has low meaningful influence or impact to address. So pretty much this could get fully deleted off the site. The only thing that mentions it is 899, where they used it to try to control the children-like anomalies there. But apparently it caused one to go feral. One of the other Reliance crosslinks in a tail, which I don't think is what I just mentioned, already has a plan for replacement with an alternative article. Okay, so 693 is the string dolls. They call it the naughty Stalker. Really? They're little humanoid string dolls. I remember buying those way back in the day. But pretty much hair from someone that's tied into it. The doll comes alive and mimics that person's actions and speech in real time. The problem is, after 9 days, the doll's behavior becomes unreliable and it actively attempts to drive the person who owns the doll towards a tragic fate. So instead of just outright killing the person, it will try to make the person die in some way, shape, or another. One of the interesting issues that people have brought up, there's 4 different colors. Blue induces severe depression. Red angers the owner. Black lures the owner into increasingly perilous, life-threatening situations. And yellow encourages acts of dangerous, unreciprocated obsession. To the owner. So, like, after the 9-day thing, the yellow ones will try to have you obsess over another person. So, I honestly think they can just completely remove this from the site. And they even said, due to the implied rape using the anomaly. 721 is the factory toys. So, there's 3 different ones. Basically, someone puts a drop of human blood on the particular item, and it'll activate. The first one, all conscious thoughts of the blood donor become audible to anyone within a 60-meter radius as a whispering sound. But they can also hear people talking around the toy as well. Or thoughts. Number 2 is actual talking. But the listener will hear the surrounding ambient noises, deafening, distorted sounds. But number 3 will just burn them. They'll go into extreme internal temperature increase until the organ matter combusts. So, pretty much, aside from being bright work, that is not harmful. But it has no meaningful influence or impact to address, so that can ultimately be scrubbed. Which is sad, because it's kind of interesting, but I think it can be replaced by one that has more interesting effects. So, 834, which makes me sad, is a set of 4 markers, black, red, yellow, and blue, created by the anomalous organization, The Factory, which I think all the factory things is what Bright had created. And so the ink permanently sinks below the skin surface, leaving highly realistic tattoo-like markings that can only be removed via laser, network, or similar medical procedures. But the thing that happens is that the drawing will pretty much, I don't want to say come to life, but 2 researchers had used the markers, and one researcher was found screaming, bleeding in his office with his wrists cut by the barbed wires, but he was trying to remove it with his fingernails. So it's like he felt like there was actual barbed wire on his skin, so he tried to remove it. And the second one had like a it says reptile scale pattern with a phrase on his chest, but he was like, it's to awaken my inner dragon. And he was found dead with where the ink was. His chest was burst open, and there was no sign of the ink on him. But that's interesting. But I think they could just replace this with an actual tattoo machine that would do the same thing. But I think it would also make it more interesting if, like, it comes with, actually not just comes with, it has its own, like, ink supply that ooh! Yes! I might write this down! But it's a tattoo machine. It doesn't require a pump or anything. It's a little tattoo machine. It has one button to turn on. The tattoo artist can control the speed, pretty much like how far in the skin they'll go, and the color that the ink produces. Now, initially the machine would be like, they had no idea where the ink came from. But it would like create like realistic looking pictures on the skin of the client. And if the applier chooses to, he can even make it like move, like do a portrait and have like the eyes blink. But after continual use, like application, they found out that the person that's doing the tattooing, the ink is actually their, not the blood, but like the ichor. No, the plasma. The plasma from the blood. It's actually using the artist's plasma. So, like, further use of it causes, I don't know what the technical term is, but when you experience loss of, like, drastically loss of, like, plasma in your system. Yeah, I gotta write this down. I might put it up on my channel, because that sounds like really interesting. And why'd they have to do it on the back of a naked woman? That doesn't really help the case at all. So, 894. These are the monkey figures, manufactured by the factory. So the one that's covering its mouth, subjects who see it become entirely unable to speak. Or even vocalize language. So it's like writing in sign language. Oh no, they say that writing in sign language remain completely unaffected. I think they should, like, they forget how to, like, sign with their hands or write words. Covering its ears, the subjects can't hear anything for 24 hours. And the ones that's covering his eyes, they lose their eyesight entirely for 24 hours. So it is an easy cut. There's, like, really nothing that these involve in. It says the content is potentially harmful due to it containing implied rape using the anomaly. So I'm guessing one of the amendments was talking about how people were using it to take advantage over women or something. Restriction of the victim's bodily control and having connections to SCP-1004. 1337. This is another one I heard that was really, really good. It's the ghost hitchhiker. Pretty much, she got killed on her prom? A victim of ritual murder in 1952 near Muncie, Indiana. She's hitchhiking. If anybody picks her up, she gives direction. And she only does this on the eve of her murder. But she gives directions to her parents' house. The people drives her there. Oh wait, directed them to stop at her own graveyard before. Okay, asked for a ride to her parents' house and directed them to stop at her own graveyard before disappearing. Okay, so to her parents' house and then to the graveyard. But there was a researcher that tried to, like, end this anomaly and went and burned down her parents' house with her parents in it. Spirit became insanely pissed off and killed the researcher. But now, if people pick her up and pretty much not take her to where the house was or something like that, she kills them. So yeah, good job there trying to contain that SCP. So it's not to have harmful content. This page is significantly referenced elsewhere in the site, and on-site backlinks are relatively extensive. This page is also more popular than many of the other SCP articles, suggested for deletion. However, the page still has little meaningful influence or impact to address. Its prominence is paper thin. I personally think they can rework this one. This is just so sad, because that's a very popular one, so change it around a bit. I have no idea how, like, the implications of that will go. But it's ones like this one, the Daughter Shadows, the Pipe. They're like ones that are known throughout the community that's being removed. That makes me really sad. Okay, 1590. Okay, this one is the Book of Tamlin. It's a 1 kilobyte tablet application that plays like a hidden object in it. So pretty much it gives you a hidden object places of, like, cluttered rooms where you have to find the objects in it. When you win, or the time runs out, the game stops and displays the message. You found out everything there is to find about the house. Now, all you have left is to find is the way out. Pops up a 3-dimensional doorway. So it's like you're holding the tablet and all of a sudden it's like there's, like, just a door in front of you. You walk through it, you disappear. No one knows what happens. No one ever comes back. I'm pretty sure they have that items that like sending a probe through, but the probe loses connection. 1777. Wait, wasn't it? Hold on a tick. This page's content is considered harmful as it includes implied pedophilia and bestiality, which is notably worse in context of the author. Okay. I will trust you on that. 177. Now, this one, I couldn't find much on. From what I can read, it's a King's Cave. Okay, I am... Oh, wow, no. Show transcript. I just want the... Okay, so it's a cave that has a ghost that appears that's, looks like a, wearing like a rustic plate of armor from England during the 15th century. And it's located in Scotland. When it appears, the operation is triggered by the presence of any direct descendant of any of the kings of England. This does not extend to descendants of queens. Which is silly! They'll then speak in what has been identified as a dialect of Latin. Would insert ancestor king's name on Tempest 2 before vanishing. Okay, so apparently it handed its sword to Scrivens. Upon arrival, the team was attacked by the man. Although non-lethal force was used, stun guns triggered a heart attack in Scrivens, which led to his death. The sword is waiting classification pending determination of Anana's properties. Okay, so apparently this king pops up when there's descendants of any kind of king, and then, like, interacts with them somehow. This page is not identified to be harmful. 2976. This one was interesting because it's like, it says 2976, but, up here it's like SCP XXXX the Pixie. Okay, this is a sandbox wiki, so I think this is a new one? This is still in progress. Yeah, I think this is a new one. So this might not be what I was looking for. So far, 2976 seems to be a book of some form. Anyone exposed to it outside the Foundation, but who has not yet been infected, is to be a missed Class C. Ministered Class C and amnesiacs. Any evidence from the possession is a book written by science fiction writer Harold G. Talent, titled In the Hall of the Last King. Book describes Tom Johnson's exploration of the temple to strange gods in darkest Africa. Referring to the native Africans as savages and introducing women to the story purely to the pleasure of the protagonist. The Hall of the Last King is described in great detail to the point that critics remarked it seemed to leap off the page. If you're not read by a human or electronic means, lip reading, someone else reading it, or in any other way being made to know the exact words may result in an infection. The infected becomes intrigued with the story, particularly with the Hall of the Last King. Infected subjects become convinced the hall is based on a real place. Stage 2. Subjects' initial interest becomes more obvious. All free time not spent taking care of themselves and ensuring survival in some way is spent pursuing of the hall. Stage 3. Within 9 months of Stage 2, subjects will fall into a coma for roughly 2 days. Upon waking, they claim they were taken to the Hall of the Last King, where they were showered with earthly delights. All subjects have used that exact phrasing before going on describing an excess of food, alcohol, drugs, and sexual activities with members of the appropriate sex. So Stage 4 is 4 more people that's infected. They try to build the hall. They cease eating, sleeping, and anything beyond working on building the Dash Beta. Alright, that's all I'm going to read about that. I've never heard of that, but that actually sounds interesting. I think that can really be rewritten. Considered harmful given the focus on a sexist, misogynist sex dungeon that is recreated by those impacted by the anomaly. I can see that. It overly explores introducing women to the story purely for the pleasure of the protagonist. 100J. Now, if you did not know, the J articles are jokes. J for joke. This was another one that I couldn't really find too much about, if the page would load. A steaming pile of shit. Yeah, this is a horse feces. It could create weapons. Nonsense items either work better than they should or work in direct opposite to the way they should. The majority of humanoid SCPs appear to as idealized versions of the new operative, physically attractive, with a multitude of abilities intended to make people feel comfortable in their presence. Non-humanoid SCPs are usually some form of enhanced normal creature, but with bizarre coloring. So, content is considered harmful as it mocks real, deleted, or decommissioned articles and can be considered as violating site rules. This page has no meaningful influence or impact to address. 555. Oh, this one is the, it turns any living organism into a tiny chippy version of themselves. Yeah, did I bring up 590? But, SCP-590 and 321 are the siblings of, Jack Bright. 321 is the one that she was born like a stillbirth, and they tried everything to bring her back. With everything they did, it made her larger than she normally is, turn her skin and her hair like completely white, like it made her albino pretty much, and she has very low mental state. 590 is the kid that can heal wounds. He can heal anybody by touching them, but he takes the injuries and whatnot onto himself, which I don't know what they're going to do with those. I didn't bother looking up the tales, but there's a lot. Given the focus on the Bright family, sex references, which are harmful in context, bestiality, and Jack Bright manipulating people to join his family. Multiple characters in eternally pubescent bodies, 15 and 13, in an attempt to seem like any implications by Bright regarding child molestations were unintentional. Mention of sex with underage women, old man vaguely acting like a sexual predator to a young girl, turns into a story about man having sex in a brothel, interrupted by zombie sex workers, as well as minorly featuring desecration of a corpse. Is it really? Okay, so in the end, monkey business, not identified to have harmful content beyond a connection to the monkey statues. POV references to rape, questionable consent, impregnation, predating on a woman, women as natural prey animals, and bestiality. Casual rape references, predation on women, abuse of trust, using them for pleasure and procreation, and extremely explicit sexual content. Which this here is why I'm thinking my one SCP is no longer good anymore. I'm not painting it in a good light. It was harmful to the clones. It was harmful to the SCP herself, and my main character actually saves her. If you're wondering, they asked what would happen to the site director, and they're like, "Oh, he'll be designated to be cleaning SCP's redacted's cell alone." And they both the characters are like, "Oh." Figure out which SCP I mean by that. Idealizes the body of a 17-year-old girl, sexualizes her interactions with adults, has her in continued romantic affairs with older staff, makes her half dragon, and implies her genitals are scaled. I don't want to continue. And it goes on. Okay, so the last three that I had brought up, they're being fully removed. Page will be retained and removed from the 001 proposal list. Will this take me to? So yeah, I have no idea which one this is. The page's content is considered harmful due to the explicit and implied pedophilia and rape and implied genocide justification. I really thought this was the Scarlet King. Given the exceptional performance of this work, influence on the idea of the factory and Bright's association, the harm reduction potential. Oh, it's the foundation or the factory. It's the whole factory thing, and they had to remove that and all of its items. For response pieces, numerous response pieces, including reimaginings, already exist handling the subject material incomparably better. This may alter how response pieces should be handled for this article. Okay. The girl that got survived. The page represents potential harm by Platform Bright. Additionally, the page was heavily leveraged to promote the Bright family and help present them as sympathetic abusers, along with accompanying works. And annotation would help explain this. The page has significant historical context around shaping ideas of 05 command, and while not overtly harmful, does provide benefit of allowing the community to respond to these ideas. The article slots is notorious within a subset of off-site fandom, and therefore possibly should be considered for temporary or permanent retainment. This must be balanced against the potential increase of Bright's presence/influence within the SCP series. So SCP-590, content is considered harmful as it focuses on abuse of an underage boy, dehumanizing and overtly giving the impression of an abuse fantasy. The piece was reportedly used by Bright repeatedly throughout their time to enable their abuse, including the context of how they reported victim selection overlapping with the traits of the character. So pretty much it's like, oh, well, if the Bright family can get away with it, so can I, is what I'm understanding. And according to reports, this piece can be seen as a representation of the people Bright victimized. Therefore, the harm reduction potential of retainment with annotation and possibly response pieces is high. Annotation of the work would be especially critical so that we can point out the extensive harm within. It's not widely associated with its number, and therefore ideally should be recycled and removed from the SCP series. And it's notorious whatnot. SCPs to be kept in SCP series due to prominence, which are currently limited to these two. Visually kept in the SCP series. Disclaimer with explanation will be added per proposal. Text will be deleted or modified and not retained as is. Pages will be open to response pieces. I'm not going to bother with the details. Okay, so 902, as the page is co-authored, this page will not be assessed for alteration or unlisting. So I already covered that. 2000, Contest Hub. This page will not be unlisted as it is the hub for the SCP-2000 contest. Therefore, we plan to reattribute the page to staff. The Duckman was Bright's username before they changed it to Admin Bright. As of January 2026, their username on the SCP Wiki was changed to display as the Duckman. To make it clear, they are not an administrator of the site, and reduce the risk of users associating them with the mythologized character of Dr. Bright. While Bright was an administrator of the site at one point, they were stripped of their staff privileges and permanently, I don't know what that means, banned from the SCP Wiki and all official spaces in 2022. Okay, so why not remove all harmful material from Bright's remaining works? Because in most cases the harm is contextual or highly difficult to remove and is better reframed. Readers may ignore the disclaimer. They'll have to engage with the text on the page in order to find the original version of each article. Oh, and here's another one. Bright may object. Assuming proper care is taken with the disclaimer phrasing, the legal threat should be limited. It is unlikely that Bright would wish to call attention to these disclaimers or the recycling process and the reasoning behind both. They're taking down my stories. Well, why are they taking down your stories? There's this amendment I can call. Which one is it? Yeah, Bright's works are relatively popular off-site. This is a problem of its own, which this proposal will help to correct. Bright's most offending works will be recontextualized constructively and awareness will be raised, which is what I'm doing with this. By enabling some of the basic concepts to remain while harmful aspects are removed or reframed or noted, off-site spaces will slowly shift their perspective of the works to be less in line with Bright's original version and intent. I think I'm just going to leave this video here. It's been going on for a while. But authors do despicable things all the time. Does that affect their work? My answer is depends. In this case, Dr. Bright was a self-insert, and a lot of his actions, especially in those stories, are of what the admin Duckman had done to his victims. So I am in full support of whatever it is they decide to do with any and all of his written work. And it's within their rights, too. This is an open... I know that's not the right term, but it's pretty much open sourced. So, again, don't go giving them hate. Don't go searching up the victims. This is not what this video is about. It's bringing awareness of the massive changes to not just Dr. Bright and the factory, but like his works in a whole. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Communications, thoughts, emotional outbursts, be nice to each other, and until next time, be a decent human.